Welcome to Country Kickback, where you'll hear the latest music from performers you already know and discover new music and artists from around the world. If you have an artist you'd like us to chat with, reach out to the team at countrykickback.com, or you can watch our live videos and more by following us on social media and YouTube. Here is your host, Danny Shaw, with the latest from Country Kickback.
Hello. I hope we're live. My phone is not letting me log in, so I can't see if you guys are there. Oh, Kaz, you're there. Thank you for joining in. Obviously, we must be live. I've got a makeup-free show today. I'm sorry. I have not been 100%, so I have not even gone down the makeup path today, but we're still going to have fun anyway. I know we had a show scheduled with Luke O'Shea earlier. I don't know what's happened, whether he's maybe got something else and didn't realize we had a show, so I will rebook with him and his publicist Beck, and we'll have him on the show in the coming weeks once we can figure out a good time. We've got Brendan waiting very patiently down here, so we're going to welcome him into the room. Hello.
I tell you something, Danny, I didn't do makeup either.
You didn't do makeup either. We've got makeup free. Oh, that's the worst part about this show. That's my worst thing. I hate makeup, and every time I come home to go to a show, I think, oh, I should have done radio.
You just hate to be in a Kiss band, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't that be awful? And they always do their own makeup. I don't know how long it must take them, because it takes me a while to do mine. I'm not that patient with it. I brushed my hair. I think that was impressive.
We won't tell anyone. We won't tell anyone that we haven't got makeup on.
That's right. Kaz has said that she doesn't do makeup either. She said in the previous comment to say hello. Have you been watching, Kaz, all the lives that have been coming from CMC Rocks? There's so many of them. It's lovely to see everyone having a great time. But are you heading out this weekend to any shows, Brendan?
No. I've actually got a mate coming down from Sydney, a mad Sydney supporter coming down tomorrow night. So he's going to head to the grand final. So we'll probably just sit there. He's a mad music fan. This guy, he's seen U2 over 60 times. That's
what?
How over 60 times.
Oh my gosh.
If they put a show on it, like a tour on in Ireland, he'll go there and he'll book every gig. He'll line up, back here anyway, but he'll line up 2 days before, camp out so he can get front row at a U2 gig, or a midnight gig, or so many bands. He just loves music.
Loves music. I love people like that. They're my kind of people. That's what I would willingly do for any country show or any live music, really. But U2 would be amazing. I've never seen them. Have you seen them live?
Yeah, I've seen them once.
Oh,
yeah, and look, the music is fantastic. There was a bit too much political blurb in the show I saw, and I thought, people come to see the music. They don't really come for your opinion so much. So maybe play more songs. You got so many.
Opinions can be dangerous, can't they? Cass said she's seen Becky Cole 52 times. Absolutely, that counts.
Wow. That is impressive.
They need to get that guy on stage with you too. I agree.
He's met them. He's actually met them. And he said, it's funny thing is, I was talking about Kiss before, and I'm a big Kiss fan. I've been a Kiss fan since I went to high school. And it sounds strange for a country music artist, but I just love them. It was just part of my youth and growing up, all that sort of stuff. And I've seen them about 12 times now. And my wife thought I had an issue going to see Kiss so many times. And then we met this guy called Andreas is his name, and he told us about U2 and that he's seen them 62 times he'd seen them. And I said, you really do have a problem. He says, no, not really. He says, I'm in the U2 group worldwide. And I said, some of the people have seen them 250 times.
joking.
So Kaz has got a fair way to go with Becky Cole.
She does. My goodness, because I was going to say they'd have to recognise him, sitting him in that front seat that many times. But they probably don't if they've got fans that have gone that many times.
They do recognise their loyal fans. And he's been up on stage, not with the band, but he's been up on stage. The head sound guy gave him a tour of the whole stage at one point. Lovely. So that's pretty cool.
How wonderful. It's so good to see true music people out there. Kaz said that she's going to see Smith & Jones and Great Aunt on Sunday.
Cool.
What are we all doing? Has anybody picked a team for the grand final? Because
I have to go with Sydney because I got
to go.
Young.
Yep.
And I'd feel bad if I didn't support my mate, so I'll go with Sydney.
That's fair. I have, as I said last night, it's very hard for me. Would I go to CMC? Would I go to grand final? And most of the time in my life, music wins. But the reason that AFL was winning, it was because I've worked in AFL since I was 17. So I am not allowed to do football tipping, but I can pick a favourite on grand final day. So this year I'm going to go with Geelong.
Yeah,
who are you going for, Naz?
They'd be
the favourite, aren't they?
Yeah. Forever.
Yep, they're definitely the favourite. But look, I think both teams have got a chance. I think it'll be a good close game. That's what I like on grand final day, a game where you just can't pick it the whole way through.
Yeah,
that's
I
the best feeling. She said Kaz, she's on the fence. You got mates supporting both, and you're a Carlton supporter. I'm sorry, Kaz. No, it's hard to pick a favourite for me, but I'm going to go with Sydney. Do you have one, Scott? Have you got a favourite for the AFL on Saturday? I know you guys in Queensland don't do AFL a real lot, so it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, grand final day is definitely one that I look forward to every year. So we were talking earlier about shows and what you've been up to. You were saying that you went to Gympie. What else have you been up to since we last saw you?
Well, I was over in the US prior to Gympie. I spent about 3 weeks over in the US, and as we were talking about before, I took a guitar. I always take a travel guitar, and I was going to do just a bunch of walk-ups. And I started doing that. Did a couple in Austin, but as I mentioned, I got COVID a couple of weeks before I left for the US, and I've had this COVID cough until about 2 days ago, where if I try and sing, I cough more than I actually sing. So I sort of pulled the pin on doing too many sort of walk-ups in the US, which was disappointing. But then I got back from the US and flew straight up to Gympie, and I did a couple of shows at Gympie at the muster, and now I'm just back in the recording studio recording more tunes and writing more songs and waiting for Tamworth, and just lots of stuff going on.
Wow, you have been busy. And new music that came out on the 12th. I was about to say it's been out for 10 days, but it's been out for 2 weeks. It's been 10 days since I looked at the calendar. But how's it going? Lost My Way. Does it feel good to be getting new music out there and back in Australia?
It's new old music. So I released a whole bunch of stuff from my recent album that came out on June 17th. So I released 7 songs off of that as singles, and they all went really, really well for me. So which was great. It's great when people listen to music. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
How do you find that releasing an album and releasing singles? It's such a different world now. Have you found that to be a good process, or was it difficult knowing which way to do things?
I don't think there's a right or wrong. This time I did it very differently. I normally what I do is release a song or maybe a couple of songs that I thought were single worthy, and then release the album. With this last album, my 6th album, I released 6 tracks prior to the album coming out because I thought all of them had something to offer.
Yes, on their own.
Style. One was a Celtic rock, one was a bit of a ballad, some were just straight country rock. So I thought I'd try that, and that seemed to work really, really well. I don't know whether it's wrong or right, but I think these days unfortunately, the album doesn't play as big a part in music as it used
No.
to. And that disappoints me personally as a music lover, because I always loved getting the album and hearing the tracks that you don't hear on the radio, or, that aren't pushed. And some of the tracks are just gold, they'd be your favorite tracks on the album. But they may not be so commercial. And that's where the album thing has changed. And it is disappointing, I think, for now. When I grew up, we had albums. That's all we had. You didn't have Spotify or streaming or
and you knew the order of songs, because you would listen to it over and over again, and you'd hear this song come on and you go, oh, this song's next, and you start singing it before it comes up on the playlist. And it's just so much different.
Changed so much.
Tyler has popped in. Hi, Tyler. How are you? You're not at CMC Rocks up there. Have you got shows on this weekend? Kaz has put here. Oh, we've got a few people commenting, and I've missed them. They're just coming in. He said that he's a Lions supporter. Don't worry, Scott. I've actually worked with the Lions an awful lot, so they're one of my top teams. So you're safe. And he's tipping Swans.
Hey, I'm a Port Adelaide supporter. So
Port Adelaide supporter. You'll get there one day.
We did 2004. Woohoo!
Not that long ago compared to other teams. Kaz said you were a busy boy, and thank you, Kaz. You're such a great just music in general, and then your reviews are just wonderful.
If everybody on the planet was like Kaz, just imagine how the music industry would be.
Wouldn't it be?
Every gig would be chockers. Every gig would be sold out.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did everyone go trying to get Luke Coombs tickets? You just couldn't get them last week. And Tyler said that she's got shows booked in Brisbane and hoping to get to CMC on Sunday. Oh, I hope you do. Let us know what you think of it, because I've never been to that one. So, Lost My Way. We keep getting sidetracked, don't we? Tell us about it, because when I always listen to things before I read the things, and when I opened it up to read what it was about, it was one sentence, and I thought that it was I would never have guessed it to that point. Lost My Way. Tell us what made you write this song and how it flowed when you were doing it.
Okay, well, first thing is the new old song. This was on an album a couple of years ago that I fully intended to release the song as a single, but I did that thing where I got a rush of blood, released the album, and Lost My Way got lost. So I finished releasing from the new album as the road unfolds, and I've got a window of about 3 months before I'm in the studio now recording album 7, and I've got a window of about 3 months where I'm still mixing and we haven't mastered or anything. So at this window, I thought, I'm going to sneak Lost My Way in, because I think it's one of the songs that's dear to me, and I think it's good, upbeat, got a good vibe, it's got a bit of a Celtic feel in it. I thought it's a really good song to put out there. So I took the opportunity. So what it's about, it's about an echidna. An echidna, when we were living in a place called Rowville in Victoria, an echidna wandered down into our backyard because there was a scrub out the back. Okay. And I went to the shed to get a couple of pairs of gloves, because I was going to pick it up, lift it up, take it back out into the scrub, because I didn't want it to walk out on the road and get squashed. Anyway, I went to the shed, grabbed the gloves, walked over to the echidna. It saw me coming and it started burrowing down into the ground. And they've got nails about that long. And when they dig down and you cannot get them out. So I thought, what I'm going to do, I'll just sit here and wait until he starts moving again, and I'll go and pick him up. Anyway, I got bored with waiting, so I went inside and I got a notepad, and I just started writing down notes of what was going on and what the story was about, and the echidna, and he's digging himself into a rose bush and blah blah blah. And by the time he lifted his head and walked off, and I could go and pick him up and put him out in the bush, I had the lyrics for the song. So I went straight inside, sat down, and thought, what needs to be upbeat, sort of a happy song, happy ending song. So just started strumming away, and within a half an hour, I'd written the song. It was one of those ones that just come together like that. So,
it's the strangest times that ideas come to mind, isn't it?
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Never convenient.
Never convenient. No, not particularly when you dream songs. I dream songs and then have to get up and record them into my phone. That's not convenient.
Oh,
And
and
lots
then
of
to
music.
go back
I
to sleep.
thought I was crazy. I thought I was the only one, but I've spoken to so many musos lately that have done exactly the same. I went to a writers' retreat at the DAG in Nundle earlier this year,
Yes.
and you kind of coyly say, "Yeah, I dream songs." Do you? So do I. People saying, "So
Yeah.
do I." I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm not crazy. There are
No,
other people as mad as me."
you're normal. I think a lot of people have said that when I've interviewed them and asked them, where do you find these things come? Some people can sit themselves down and pencil in a time to write a song, and others most seem, it just comes to them at inconvenient times or when they're sleeping or middle of the night. But
I don't think I've ever sat down to write a song. I don't think I've ever grabbed the guitar and sat down, said to myself, "I'm going to write a song." I don't think I've ever done that. I've just happened to be strumming away on a guitar and an idea will come. Or when we were in the US, we were in Arizona, in Phoenix, and we come across a shop that sells Native American jewelry. We went in there,
wow.
and there was a guy in there. He was 92, old Tom, and he had story after story after story. And we just stayed in the shop for a couple of hours listening to his short stories and watching people come in and out and just have a chat. So, those sorts of things are inspiration for me to write songs. So,
Old
and
Tom.
I actually have written a song about that. So,
have you? Is it called Old Tom? Did you title it about him?
I haven't titled it yet. I only wrote it a couple of days ago, so it's still in the process. But it'll be probably on my 7th album.
So what do you do? Do you sit down, like, especially with this song, it came to you so quickly and came together? Do you then sort of sit it down and rest it for a little bit and go back to it and see if you need to move anything around, or is it when you're finished you're pretty right at that point?
Look, it really depends. Some songs will take literally years, and others come together really quickly, and I don't change them too much.
Yeah, okay.
I take them in the studio. So the process is I'll write the song on an acoustic guitar, I'll just strum away, write the song, chord progression, the lyrics, and then I'll get into the studio with the session musicians and we'll workshop the song and see what we need in it. And generally it's a bass player, a guitarist, and a drummer to start with. And I've already done a guide track for it. And that's the start of the process. And from there, it builds into the song, and it might be that we pull all the guitars out and I'll record some banjo, or I'll get someone to record some banjo, or I'll get some keys in it or piano, whatever. So that the song evolves until it gets to the point where we master it. So I can't say they're absolutely finished when I've written them.
No, because you're still growing and recording. Yeah.
They evolve.
Yes. Yeah. Scott said it's probably safe to say it's a unique song about an echidna. I actually have to say I've never ever interviewed anybody that's told me that they've written a song about an echidna. So it's definitely.
I'm sure there'd be somebody. I'm sure.
Oh, there has to be. What is it? Every song's been written. It's just different ways. Every feeling and everything's it's been written, but there's so many ways of telling those stories, aren't there?
Oh, exactly.
And Kaz has said the DAG is the best. Go, Johnny K. I have not been to. I mean, I've had Johnny on the show plenty of times, but I've never been to the DAG, and I wish I was a good songwriter that had that sort of thing, because I think it would be an amazing experience.
You don't have to be a good songwriter to go to the DAG. It's all about learning and evolving and whatever. I'm back there I loved it so much that's the first time I've been there. I loved it so much. I'm going back there in November for another.
How many days do you go for?
It's 4 days.
4 days. That would be amazing too. And you're there for you stay there. It's about networking as well, isn't it? The DAG.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When I went to the DAG, I've always written by myself. When I went to the DAG, the first challenge for me was actually collaborating with somebody else to write a song.
Okay.
So I wrote a song with Jeremy Edwards.
How did you find that? Yeah, how did you find that?
Look, I found it really good. We ended up, Jazz and I wrote a song that I wouldn't have written myself. He probably wouldn't have written himself. But because of that collaboration piece, we're throwing ideas at each other, and I'd head in my way, he head in his way, and then we sort of meet in the middle somewhere, and we end up with a song that is different to anything that I had written before, but it still has traces of me in it.
Yes.
So that's the kind of thing you get, and I've played it times since. So
and it makes you help you grow, doesn't it? You're evolving as an artist, evolving as a person.
Well, you think I wouldn't have put that chord there. I wouldn't have gone there. That bit foreign to me. So I really like it that it's sort of stretched my, imagination a little bit. And okay, well that works. That actually works, and it's another string to the bow. So and I enjoyed it so much that I'm heading to the Blue Mountains to do one with Lynn Botel and Roger Corbett, and in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm hooked.
Pauline, yes, and Pauline won't be playing guitar when she's there. She had an accident in her.
She fell in the river.
Yeah. So she'll be
singing up a storm.
She'll be singing up a storm, and she might. I don't know if she's right or left-handed. She might have to get someone to write it for her, but I'm sure she'll be there, and I'm sure she'll have a great time.
I'm sure she will.
But that sounds like fun as well. And so it sort of made you go, oh, I want more of this, and you're heading out to change how you're doing it as well.
Yeah, well, the more you work with people, the more you learn. So
exactly, yes.
As I said, Brendan, and he was. Oh, thank you, Kaz.
Absolutely. How many people?
I'm not disappointed this next time.
When you write at the DAG, you wrote that first song, and it surprised you and everything. Did you then go on and write more, and the collabing thing became a little bit more comfortable and a bit braver to go out of that comfort zone?
Yeah, look, I wrote and I wrote 2 songs that'll be on my next album. One of them I wrote with Andrew Ryan, and he was there as a student as well. His daughter is Amy Ryan. She's 13 years old, and she's just a whiz, and she's going to be huge in the industry, I think, in years to come. So we wrote a song, and I've been in the studio working that one, and that one's come up really nicely. I wrote another one with Lola Brinton, and she's a lyricist, and I think she's going to DAG in November, so I'll write again with her. So look, I think it'll become a natural part of my writing. I'll still do my own thing, but and I'll generally speaking, I'll write my songs that I have the ideas and concepts for. But when I collaborate, it'll be like, well, we don't have any ideas, so where do we start? And it'll be a brand new idea and a brand new song that neither of us, however many collaborate, would have even started on. That's what I like about the collaboration thing.
It's wonderful. It sounds like such a magical place and so much fun. I don't think anybody feels like they've worked when they go there.
No, not at all. And you go at your own pace. If you want to write, you write. If you don't want to write, if you want to sit back and just enjoy the atmosphere or listen to other music, and so there's no pressure. It's really safe environment for anybody who's a budding songwriter.
Yes. So, oh, wonderful.
Sounds like I'm advertising it, doesn't it?
You do. I think that everyone goes there, advertises for them, because I haven't heard anyone that's come back and gone, oh, I never want to go there again. Everyone loves it, has a great time. It sounds like a lot of fun. So what are your plans? You said you're in the studio, you're recording for your 7th album. Have you got plans to release more songs this year, or is it going to be into the new year, what you're doing at the moment?
I'm hoping that I'll get the first track finished by about November for a release. And the way we're going, I think that's possible. So I would like to put the first song out in November, because I've already put 5 songs out this year, and 6 sounds good. I don't know.
That's a nice number to round it off with.
And I just keep writing, and while I keep writing and the songs shape up okay, I'll keep releasing. So I think I've got releases to take me through to 2025 at the moment, with what I've written and what I've recorded. So
you're a bit behind with your music then.
I sat down yesterday, I wrote a song, and I really liked it. And I played it to my wife. She said, "Yeah, that's a really good song." And she's honest. She's not biased. She'll say, if I write a crap song, she'll say it's a crap song.
Yep.
And I thought, in reality, I won't be releasing this song till probably the end of 24.
Wow.
Because I've got so much stuff to release. So so that's frustrating because I've been working on the songs for album 7 for quite some time now, and they're getting stale to me because I've been playing them so long. And when you find something new and you play that, so I just want to go in and record this and release it. But then you think I've got this whole backlog of stuff that I've got to release before I get to that. So yeah, and I'm going to go to write some more songs. So who knows?
And the cost of doing it too. So you've got to be, you've got to know that this is what you really want to release, and you've got to stick to it, don't you? The time and the money. Kaz said that your wife is always right.
I don't know.
I love it. So what is your, at the moment, you're at no sort of final touches. Do you change your mind at getting close to, or when you've chosen the songs, you're set on them?
To release?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I've got the song
on the album. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's fairly fluid all the way through. I mean, I'm recording a dozen songs at the moment, and I've got maybe another 20 songs that I've written that I would like to record to see how they shape up. Because sometimes you don't know how a song's going to shape up. You think it's going to work really well, and you get into the studio and record it, and it just doesn't work. So you put it to bed for a while. And I've got maybe half a dozen songs that I've recorded for albums that I just haven't put on them and haven't released because they just haven't come up the way I think they should, or they just don't fit into what I'm releasing. So it's just
there's so many levels to releasing music, and then also on top of that, how you release it. So some of those songs might be better as just a single that isn't on a body of work, and it's a hard thing to do, especially when you've got so many.
Yeah, you're right, because, and it is, as we talked about earlier, it's all in that change of the perception of an album. Lots of artists these days don't release albums anymore. They just release singles, or they may put an EP together. I'm still a fan of the album because it's a record of that body of work that you can keep forever.
Yes.
And it kind of also is, once you've finished the album, it's like a stepping stone to move forward. Okay, I've done that. I've released it. It went however it went. Now I can start working on the next project.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just releasing singles, to me, it's like, well, when do I finish? When is there a clean break that I can say I'm moving forward now?
Yeah, so, that's right. Yeah. That's true. That's a very good way to look at it as well. And sometimes you need to finish that section before you can then write new music and things about where you're at now in life, in music, in everything.
Yeah.
And Kaz is like me. She likes the whole story, not just the little chapters. I'm the same. I love to hold it. I love to read it. And I'm a bit of I'll buy an album now and I will still stream it rather than play the album, because it's better for you guys if I buy it and then stream it, because that will give you guys that help. So often I'll buy the album and still listen to it on whatever streaming platform that the album's on, but I still like to be able to read it while it's playing and hold it, and I like the ins and outs of it. So I think it's something that's
funny thing, as Kaz would well know, that she would have missed out on Boudouwa Betty, the best of the album. The last song on the album, I don't think she may have warmed to it by now, but she wondered why.
I remember last time we had you on, she was talking about that, and she said that you're right, Kaz, we are tragics, but it's the best club to be in. Have you warmed to it yet, Kaz? Have you warmed to that one?
Best not say anything, I think, Kaz.
Oh dear.
Funny.
And yes, that's it. Most definitely buy the albums and then stream them. Yep. I think a lot of those of us that are really into, especially the Australian music scene, I think we are becoming better at how we listen to make it worthwhile for you guys, because you get nothing out of it. It's we've got to do what we can to at least do something to give something back to you guys, don't we?
It's a funny thing. I think the music listener who streams doesn't understand the impact that streaming has had on the income of the musician. They think, oh, well, they see, well, you get 1,000 streams, you get 100,000 streams. I think, oh, you must be making a fortune out of that.
Well, you've had a number one. You don't need to work anymore. You've had a number one song, but you've got nothing out of that number one song, and it's cost you thousands of dollars to get it out for you to listen to. There's just no understanding, and I think we are slowly getting messages out there, but it's probably never going to make a massive difference in an industry that keeps going that direction.
Yeah, well, that door is open. The gates are gone.
And there's definitely some things about it that's not bad.
There's great things about it. Look, I have listeners, throughout the world now. I get emails from people in the UK and the US and Luxembourg and France and all those sorts of things. Never would have happened without streaming. No, so there are some positives.
Because that's right. And I remember thinking, I know this person internationally that's releasing this album and it's coming out on this date in the US and I want it now, and going into CD stores and trying to find somebody that can get it to me from there so it's not months or years after it's actually been released to the world. Now, if it's coming out tomorrow, it's coming out tomorrow wherever I am.
Yeah, exactly right. It'll be on your phone. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, exactly right. And Kaz has answered you very nicely. She said, I love so many of your songs. She's well answered.
That is a very diplomatic answer. I love it.
Oh dear. And Kaz writes such an amazing review and she's so good at it. I have been trying. I've been asked to do a couple of reviews for some international artists of late, and I am not good at writing a review. I can say what I like, but I can't write it. I'm hopeless. So I don't know how you do it, Kaz. You're amazing. So where can we get, if we haven't already heard Lost My Way, where can we get it? And what's the best place that helps you? Is Spotify your thing or iTunes your thing? What's the best for you?
Oh, I think for all artists, anybody who purchases a song, it's better for the artist. So purchasing it from, say, iTunes.
Yes.
But if that's not the case, then just put it on repeat on iTunes and listen to it like 500,000 times in a year.
I get to the point where I put the sound down and let it keep playing while I sleep.
That's right. Plug it in. Buy 5 or 6 laptops. Get 5 or 6 Spotify accounts. Just keep them running continuously.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. If people listen to my music and they enjoy it, I'm really happy about that. Next year I'll be out doing a lot more gigs than I have prior because, we've got some freedom now, of course, and there's awareness. It takes a long time to build awareness about your music when you're an original artist, and you haven't been treading the boards for 30 years. So I've been at this for now 8 or 9 years, trying to find my way into the market. And you get little wins along the way, and you get positive things. Like Kaz said, there were lots of people at the DAG. I just sat there and played some acoustic songs one afternoon because there were people sitting there ready to go into a show, and you take those opportunities just to build awareness about who you are and your songs. Yeah. And people like them and listen to them.
And that's all that you want. You're doing it. I think, if you love it and you want it to hear it, then we're going to hear that in you. But we get to hear, if you guys didn't do that, what would we be listening to? We'd be listening to the same things on the radio. We wouldn't have so much choice. So
you're not talking about commercial radio, are you?
I don't think many of us listen to that anymore, do we? We don't need to. We've got all sorts of ways. But I think those are the things that we benefit from you guys just doing that and taking those moments wherever you are, because that's where we hear of people, and that's where we get it out there. But we have so much talent in Australia at the moment that it's a hard industry. It's a hard industry to be in because there's so much good material coming out.
And Australia's still not a big place.
No,
so limited market for all those great artists. There is a limited market.
Wow, isn't it crazy? wait, I'm trying to click on this. Did it work? That one worked. Click wasn't working. She said that her review of your album made it to the magazine Abbreviated. That's wonderful, Kaz.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaz. That was wonderful.
Really appreciate that. It's amazing, those little things that pop up that really do help and make the artist and also bringing you when you're out on the road and you've got people like Kaz or community radio and all of that sort of thing. It gets them to your shows because that's where you're going to make some sort of money back to do more music for us. So we have got some really great avenues now. We found little ways around these commercial things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know, you just chip away,
Yes.
and you know, people are really good, particularly in the country music environment. You know, they're very forgiving, and they're very keen to support. That's what I've found in the last 8 or 10 years, that I've sort of dived deep into music again after a fairly long break from music. So, yeah, it's a really good environment. You know, being at Gympie, it was just amazing seeing the camaraderie and the enjoyment and the absolutely fantastic artists that were there. And I was talking to a guy on the bus. We got a bus into the
festival. Yep.
Festival. And he said, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years and I've never seen any aggro. I've never seen a dust up between people. I thought, how good is that? You know?
Yeah, that's right. How many other festivals would you go to that happens?
Yeah, well, that's right. So, yeah, it's just wonderful. Wonderful environment, as the country music festivals are.
And it's definitely, and it's, I know as a person that often goes to these things by myself, it's much safer. If you were going to you know, certain, I wouldn't go to a lot of things, but we're so lucky in our genre and in our country that you feel safe being around people, because even though you don't know them, you feel like you've got something in common with them and you feel like you're sort of a family in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Scott said that thank you for chipping away. As fans, we really appreciate it. Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott. I'll be chipping away for a long time yet.
Good. And Scott went to the muster this year, and Scott and Tanya went, and they said the same thing. You don't find that very often, and it's hard to explain to people. You know, it's quite a safe environment. I mean, you never take it for granted. You're always careful, but it's definitely not an environment that I think I've ever felt uneasy in. The muster or Tamworth, actually, both places have been very safe. Yeah. Are you heading to Tamworth in January?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
well, we're going to have book you for a chat in person in Tamworth.
Yep. I'm there for the whole festival. I think I've got about 6 or 8 gigs so far, and I'm going to play as many as I can.
So. Lovely. So you'll be no voice like everyone else at the end.
No voice. Don't care.
That's all right. Haven't worked hard enough if you don't lose your voice at the end of Tamworth.
You're right. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Me too. I am too. Now, I thank you so much for joining us. I know that all of you have probably already heard Lost My Way, but please head over. Actually, in the top of the comments, there is a Spotify link to Brendan's Spotify, so you can jump on there and follow him and have a listen to all his music while you're there. But make sure you get along and see him live if he's playing near you, and let us know. We want to see photos. We want to hear what tell us what you think about it. We love those things. Thank you for joining us again, Brendan. It's always lovely having you on.
No problem at all. Anytime.
I hope you get your other interview in now.
I think that's gone by the wayside.
They haven't called yet. Maybe they're on a different time zone. It's okay.
One.
That's right. We got extra time with you. But we may be back Saturday. I do have one penciled in. We're just waiting because time zones are a bit of an issue. So we're I will let you guys know as soon as I get a confirmation for that. But we will be coming live over the weekend. Nick is representing us up at CMC Rocks, and it looks like he's having a great time. So if you see him there, make sure you tap him on the shoulder and say hello. And we will see you next week. I will be in Queensland later in the week, so I'll do some lives from those shows as well. But thank you all for joining, and thank you, Brendan, for joining us again and braving Country Kickback.
Absolute pleasure.
See you guys. See you next week.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed today's program. See you next time with the latest with Country Kickback.